This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Postmodernism Explained by the Practical Atlas. Introduction. The rise of postmodernism. Postmodernism is one of the most complex and widely debated intellectual movements of the last century. It has been described as a philosophical orientation, a cultural condition, and even a style of thought that resists clear definition. Some critics see it as the breakdown of meaning itself, while others celebrate it as a necessary response to rigid systems of modernity. In either case, postmodernism remains essential to understanding the way people think, create, and interact today. To appreciate postmodernism, it is important to situate it in contrast to modernism, the movement it sought to question. Modernism was defined by faith in progress, rationality, and the ability of human reason to uncover universal truths. It was the era of Enlightenment ideals, of grand narratives promising that history had a direction and that science, industry, and culture were marching inevitably toward improvement. Modernist thinkers and artists believed in originality, purity of form, and the capacity of knowledge to liberate humanity from superstition and ignorance. Postmodernism, however, represents a dramatic shift in mood and perspective. Instead of optimism, it often conveys skepticism. Instead of believing in one unifying narrative, it suggests that there are multiple, often conflicting stories about reality, none of which can claim absolute authority. Postmodernism challenges the assumption that truth is objective and unchanging, proposing instead that truth is shaped by language, culture, and power. This turn away from certainty and grand narratives unsettled many, but it also opened intellectual and artistic space for new voices and perspectives. The emergence of postmodernism can be traced to historical circumstances that shattered faith in modern ideals. The devastation of the First World War, the atrocities of the Holocaust, the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the rise of totalitarian regimes in the 20th century all undermined the idea that reason and science automatically produce progress. If the same rational systems that created modern medicine and technology could also create concentration camps and nuclear bombs, then perhaps modernity's promise of progress was not as secure as many once believed. In addition to these historical shocks, philosophical developments contributed to postmodernism's rise. Thinkers such as Friedrich Nietzsche challenged the existence of absolute truth long before the word postmodernism became common. Nietzsche's declaration that God is dead symbolized not only the decline of religious authority, but also a broader crisis of certainty. Later, Martin Heidegger's critique of Western metaphysics and his insistence on the interpretive nature of existence laid additional groundwork. By the mid-20th century, intellectuals such as Jean-François Lyotard, Michel Foucault, and Jacques Derrida began articulating what would come to be recognized as a distinctly postmodern orientation. Culturally, postmodernism manifested in art, literature, architecture, and popular media. Artists abandoned the modernist search for purity and originality in favor of parody, pastiche, and eclecticism. Architects rejected the severe minimalism of modern design, embracing ornament, irony, and historical references. Writers experimented with fragmented narratives, metafiction, and intertextuality, deliberately blurring the lines between fiction and reality. In popular culture, postmodernism is evident in films and television shows that combine genres, break the fourth wall, or borrow freely from the past without concern for originality. Yet postmodernism is not just an artistic or academic trend. It is a cultural condition that affects everyday life. The way people consume media, understand politics, and experience identity has been shaped by postmodern ideas. For example, the internet and social media exemplify postmodern tendencies by collapsing distinctions between reality and...
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.